live stream. People are tuning in everywhere. All right. If you're ready, I'm ready.
I'm ready.
All right. Hey, we are here at the 2017 Big Bright Minds put on by the fine folks at Filene. And we're in Austin, Texas, where last night, it was like we were living in Antarctica. It was snowing like crazy, John Jeffries.
Yeah, it was a snow globe out there, right?
Snow globe.
Yeah, we tried to leave D.C. and first snow of the year.
In Texas.
Yeah, right.
Of all the places. Anyway, we are here with Callahan's John Jeffries. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Mike. Glad to be here. Great event here by Filene.
Yeah.
It gets, one of the things I like about this event is you get a whole bunch of people in a room that you really don't see anywhere else, right? You get the crashers, you get their I3ers, you get these enthusiasm for what might be, and then you sort of have the old guard of CEOs who just sort of want to reminisce about when they were there, and sort of it's a neat crucible of changing of the guard and the new guard, and sort of get revitalized on what Credians might mean. So.
Exactly. I mean, I think it's a great. I was talking to Chuck Fagan about this yesterday, and he was like, "It's a great way to kind of close out the year to get you motivated for 2018." So a lot of stuff happening. But you were just up on stage talking about. Give us a quick summary of what you were talking about.
Yeah. So I was talking about collaboration. So I was on a panel with Mark Meyer from Filene, and we first started talking about collaboration in the Credian space, why it's important, what we see, and then talked about some of the things that we're trying with Callahan and Filene. Mm-hmm. So as I think about collaboration on sort of the meta level, I think it's really important because individually, Credians don't have that much scale. At an individual level, even the largest Credian isn't that big.
Right.
But if you look at what we can do when we work together and how we can amplify our impact, I think that's critical. So one of the examples I gave that I use a lot in my mind is the Boeing 787, the Dreamliner.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
It's supposed to revolutionize air travel.
Yeah.
Right, and I think what I really liked about that model is Boeing just designed it and puts it together. It's actually made all over the world, right? So what they said was they found the best tire company in Brazil, and the best engine maker in Britain, and the best wing maker in Japan, and Australia, and all over the world. All these components are made, and then they fly them to Seattle or Charleston, South Carolina, and they assemble them, right? So I think that's a really interesting vision for Credians in collaboration. Of Boeing had this vision of we're going to revolutionize air travel. We're going to build this, the Dreamliner. Yet their role was how do we coordinate the network?
Right.
And I think for Credians, what's that future vision? What are you trying to get to in collaboration? Then you can step back and say, okay, where's our competency? Where's our passion? Where are our skills? And then who can we find to work with that have skills that complement ours, right? And so I think that as we think about ways to accelerate the impact of Credians, collaboration has to be a cornerstone of that.
No doubt.
And then Mark was talking about some of the lessons he's learned, and there was a presentation he got at Stanford, and he got 6 lessons of collaboration. And I think the last one is maybe the most important. And the last one is you have to have trust in who you collaborate with. Right? At some point, something's not going to go well, and it goes much easier if you can trust the other person to do the right thing.
Yeah, indeed. I keep hearing the term, we have to collaborate to compete. We have to collaborate to compete, because there's not many industries on this planet that collaborates openly, that shares openly, and credit unions are one of them. And so I'm feeling that we need to really leverage that, and it sounds like that's what you guys talked about in there.
Yeah, I think a lot of what Credians are able to do are illegal in other industries, right? They're antitrust laws, right? And shareholder action suits we had. In the credit industry, it's not uncommon if you call someone and say, "Hey, we send me your strategic plan," and they send it to you, right? That doesn't happen elsewhere. But I think it's that realization of, who's our real competitor, right? Credians have 6% deposit market share. So at the end of the day, even in any market, your real competition isn't a credit union, right? Your competition's, the money center and regional banks and community banks. So how can we work together to get market share from them? Because I think the hard part for us is we know that the consumers and members would be better off, right? So there's been a theme here at Filene about Credians being the best kept secret. Right, and how do we get our impact in the work we do? Because so many people would be better off if they did their financial banking with Credian.
Exactly. I think we need to get out of the best kept secret shell.
Yeah, right.
And become like the best known financial resource.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. So, Mike, the second thing Mark and I talked about was this exploration that Callahan and Filene have, and it started really from some of our Credians saying, "Hey, we see Filene playing over here, we see Callahan playing over here. I think you guys should probably play together.
I think you guys complement each other really well.
Yeah, exactly. And it takes some courage to say, well, we sort of compete, but at the end of the day, if you look at the mission and culture of both of our organizations, it's really about how do we grow the pie, how do we grow the sandbox, how do we help credit unions become more relevant, serve more members, and if Filene can do that through innovation and research, that's great, because then we can take and say, okay, we're going to do some data and analytics and storytelling and case studies and roundtables around that to really get the practical applications down. So, if you put those two together, you get a really nice partnership. So we've done some swaps and barterings between our organizations.
You guys are collaborating
in true credit fashion, right? But we sort of coined this phrase that goes back to the founders of both of our organizations, Ed Filene and Ed Callahan, at Callahan Associates, that 2 Eds is better than 1.
Team Ed,
right? So that's sort of as we always end every conversation with hey, let's keep down the path of making 2 Eds better than 1.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love it.
Yeah.
You guys got to trademark that pretty soon. So what is the importance of all of this, the collaboration, working together, the importance of it right now? Why is it so important today? Because in my mind, there's a lot of disruption out there. Yeah. There's some pretty powerful forces kind of chipping away at our market share. So
I think that there's a confluence of things that are really causing this point in history to be really unique. You mentioned a lot of them. You have this acceleration of technological change, right? At the same time, I think you need to look at what's going on in members, what's going on in the country. So I tell our staff in DC, we live in a bubble. This isn't the real world. Go drive to 50 miles outside the city, and that will give you a better picture.
Yeah.
The American consumer isn't great, right? And in some parts of the heartland, it's not good. And it's those of us that live in big cities don't really see it or feel it. We're sort of insulated from it a little bit. But the need and the role for credit unions is probably needed as much today as it was in the Great Depression when we were founded, right? Yeah. The notion of people helping people and being local and being a pillar of the community is critical. So I think you sort of have on one hand this technological change that's eroding the potential business model. At the other end, this thirst of consumers that need a different solution. And it really becomes a question. Credit unions didn't cause this. Do they want to be part of the solution?
Yeah.
And it gets them to ask a different set of questions and try and answer questions a different way. And maybe technology is part of the solution. Maybe it's changing the business model, how you do it, the focus. But I really think that we're at this really interesting point of time where you have, because I think a lot of the fintech companies are sort of playing at the top, right? They're going after the cream of the crop, and there's really no one focusing on the middle. And I like to say, if you draw a bell curve, right? Take off the 2 tails, right? Someone else is going to serve the really low end, someone else is going to serve the high end. There's a really fat part of the bell curve that credit unions are primed to serve, right? So how do we think about that in new ways?
Ooh, I like that. And that kind of segues me to my wrap-up question is how do you see 2018? 2017 obviously is another good year for credit unions. Yeah. How do you see us continuing that momentum into 2018, especially with the collaborative theme we're talking about here so much?
Yeah, so I think everything we see in talking to credit unions, 2018 is going to be another good year, right? I think that there are some headwinds that the credit unions are going to face, right? And I think we need to realize what that might mean. So one of the interesting things that I've heard out of Washington is people celebrating. Hey, we kept our tax exemption, right? That's a big win. Well, on the flip side, though, our big competitors had their corporate tax rate cut if the deal goes through. So all of a sudden, they're going to have more money to invest and fight. So it becomes a question of, are they going to keep it, right, for the shareholders, more likely, or are they actually going to use it to fight? So we're going to have a new set of wealth-financed competitors that are going to be trying to go after a similar market for us. So
is that fight ever going to go away? I mean, is this one of our constants in life? Is that they're always going to be fighting for the tax issue?
I think it is. Yeah. I think it is, and I think the burden's on us to really, as a movement, show what's our impact, right? And as a mission-based organization and as a mission-based movement, how do we live that, right? And one of my fears is that too many credit unions have adopted what I call a bank-light strategy. So we're just like a bank, but we're a little nicer and a little cheaper, as opposed to what I think is a mission-based organization. We're here to serve our members, and for better or worse, I think those are in conflict, right?
Yeah,
so as the movement moves more towards a bank-light mindset, I think that tax exemption becomes harder.
Yeah.
So we see a lot of larger progressive credit unions actually going down reevaluating the mission focus, right? What does it mean to be a credit union? How do we better serve our community? How do we better align? And it might go on with a really simple story that I heard at a credit union planning session. And they say, we have incentive goals for our team and the CEO said, and myself, it's all about loan growth, right? We know that's really what pays the bills and keeps this thing going, right? They say, if you walk out and you ask my members, do you want more loans? None of them are going to say yes, right? They're going to say, get me out of debt faster.
Yeah.
So it really changed the strategic planning conversation from, hey, we have all these incentives and goals around loan growth that are based on the institution,
right.
Yet from the member perspective, it's how do you get them out of debt faster?
Yeah.
And it's a really simple nuance, but it's pretty impactful.
Yeah,
so
no doubt.
we see a lot of credit saying, okay, how do we better serve our members and how do we design our organizations to be more member-centric? And I think that's where innovation and collaboration comes out because we're going to need scale, we're going to need ideas. Some things aren't going to work. How do we get those stories out there? Hey, we developed this program. Let me tell you, it didn't work. Or, hey, we developed this program.
Yeah.
Look at how impactful it was.
Yeah.
You guys should try this.
Yeah.
Because, so go credit and so go all of us.
Mm-hmm. Oh, great message to end on.
Yeah.
John, thank you so much.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate
it. Yeah. Well done, sir. Keep up the good work there in Washington, D.C. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Well done, lad. Talk to this guy. Good job, John. Thank you very much.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Good stuff. Oh, I love the ending. Oh, my gosh. That was awesome. Well, look at that. 11 minutes of fun.